Hello everyone, it's me again. Today I will recap the movie Madam Web. This is a prequel before Peter Parker was born. Have you seen this pink spider? It is worshipped as a god in the Amazon jungle. This man was bitten by it, turning into a black spider with powerful physical strength. He took advantage of this to do illegal things. He did not expect that there was still a girl with abilities no less than his. In fact, Madam Web's ability can change the future fate of others. Her students are 3 Spider-Man heroines, and Cassie herself, although in a wheelchair, if she uses her mental superpower, she can split herself into many bodies, each of which is an extremely powerful entity. So how strong is she? Please follow today's recap. The film opens in 1978 in the Amazon jungle. Although a scientist is pregnant, she is still diligently researching a legendary spider. Ezekiel, her colleague, thinks it is impossible. However, he has his own ambitions. He takes advantage of the girl's research books, but at this moment, the scientist has caught the spider god. Ezekiel looks out, confirms it once more, then pulls out his gun and shoots down the scientist nearby. It turns out that Ezekiel has been searching for the spider for many years to satisfy his dark purpose and heartlessly kills the pregnant female doctor. Fortunately, the legendary spider tribe appeared. They took the scientist to their cave. Although they were strangers, they were willing to help a woman in this difficult situation, then bit her with the spider god. The venom quickly spread throughout her body. In the end, she safely gave birth to the child. Ashana seemed to have foreseen the girl's future. He said that her journey was not easy, but she was very strong, and he would stay here waiting for her to return. Back to the present, it was 2003 in New York. The child from back then had now become a lifeguard. Her close colleague, who always accompanied her, was Ben Parker, who would later become Spider-Man Peter Parker's uncle. As usual, today was a busy day for the rescue work. As an ambulance driver, they freely accelerated and shifted gears on the road. While running, Cassie was startled and slammed on the brakes, because the student party liked to act recklessly, showing off her skateboarding in the middle of the street. Cassie angrily honked the horn, but the girl even raised her middle finger and walked away. Back at the hospital, Cassie meets another teenage girl named Julia, but she is a different version, always polite and sweet. Afterwards, Cassie returns to her apartment. While cleaning, she finds her mother's belongings. She also reads a note about a special spider that her mother has painstakingly searched for in the sacred forest. She wonders why her mother would risk her life just to find a spider. The next day, Cassie and Ben continue to carry out their heroic deeds. This time, it is a traffic accident on the bridge. The man is still trapped inside, the car is precariously balanced, and could fall at any moment. But when Ben just brought the victim out safely, unfortunately, Cassie was still inside. She had not yet crawled out, and was dragged down by the falling car. At this moment, a latent ability inside her body erupted. Surrounding Cassie is a web of spider webs, a series of voices and illusions that constantly appear. It is a series of events directly related to Cassie, but it is worth noting that she has never experienced those events before. Fortunately, Ben was able to pull her back from the grip of death. After returning from the dead, Cassie began to foresee events that were about to happen, startled by the near-future vision. Cassie gasped when Ben repeated exactly what she had seen. At this point, Cassie still did not believe that she had superpowers. On the other hand, Ezekiel was pursuing a seductive woman. While sleeping, Ezekiel began to experience strange things in his dreams. In them, he also glimpsed the future. He witnessed himself being beaten, and eventually dying at the feet of 3 Spider-Man heroines. Startled awake, he knew that this was not just a dream, because this had repeated many times with the exact appearance of the 3 Spider-Man heroines. His lover reassured him. He decided to track down and collect the 3 Spider-Man heroines before they could make his dream come true. The woman was about to pull out a gun to do something. He strangled her and injected venom from his arm, making the girl's limbs weak, unable to resist. She honestly revealed some kind of password. It turned out that the victim was an intelligence agent. He intentionally approached her to get the password to access the National Security Surveillance Camera System. This allowed him to access the entire system, monitoring the eyes of the U.S. intelligence agency through a super female hacker. He provided a sketch of the appearance of the 3 Spider-Man heroines, and ordered the female hacker to use the eyes system to track down their whereabouts. At the same time, it was said that the event that happened in the dream was 10 years in the future. Through that, the female hacker depicted their appearance and exact age at the present time. It turned out that these girls were just high school girls, and they were just ordinary people without any special abilities. When the female hacker showed pity, he was coldly happy, so it was even simpler. The next day, Another fire broke out in the city. Cassie continued on her journey to complete her noble mission. While resuscitating a victim, she saw a scene in the near future. Her colleague would have an accident and would not survive. Thinking that this was just an illusion, due to the psychological shot from the previous time, what happened next was exactly as she saw. Cassie wanted to replace her colleague in driving away, but he refused because he saw no danger. As soon as Cassie turned around, not long after, the sound of a truck crashing came from behind her, and what happened next was exactly what Cassie had seen in the vision. On the other hand, because of her ability to see the future, Cassie had to go see a doctor to have her eyes checked. Her brain scan results were all normal. The doctor said that she was just suffering from psychological trauma, and that she would recover after a few days of rest. After returning to her apartment, Cassie once again experienced her ability to see the future. She saw a bird crash into the glass door, lying on its stomach outside, but when she opened the door, it disappeared right before her eyes. Startled, she looked back, and everything started to happen exactly as she had seen, and she was extremely confused. She tried to open the glass door, and at this moment, the bird flew into her house through the glass door. This showed that Cassie not only saw the future, but she could also change it, if she took appropriate actions, because she had clearly saved the life of that bird. Sometime later, the female hacker also found out the whereabouts of the 3 female students. Coincidentally, all 3 seemed to be heading towards the same train. And even more coincidentally, Cassie was also on this train. After receiving the news, Ezekiel immediately set out to hunt. Inside the train, Cassie continued to show her abilities. She saw Ezekiel in the form of the black spider. He killed 3 innocent female students one by one. Knowing that she could change the future, her conscience did not allow such a terrible thing to happen. Cassie immediately asked the 3 girls. She did not know to leave the train immediately. Right when the group went outside, Ezekiel also smelled it and came looking for them. Outside, the 3 girls were busy arguing with Cassie. Inside, the pervert also discovered his prey. Cassie saw Ezekiel and was a little shocked, and the girls even cursed loudly, causing Cassie to point straight at the ceiling, where the black spider was hiding. Only then did the 3 girls believe Cassie was telling the truth, so they ran away. But they still didn't trust Cassie. As soon as they met the police, the 3 girls shouted that they were kidnapped. Seeing Cassie being restrained, they were extremely happy, completely unaware of the danger approaching. Before they could understand the situation, the black spider arrived. He didn't say much, just coldly beat away the police blocking his way. Fortunately, there was a group of police holding Ezekiel behind, giving them time to run up the road. Cassie borrowed a taxi and sped away, leaving the poor driver bewildered. An argument broke out in the car, as the 3 of them, who didn't know each other and didn't know anything about the black spider, were suddenly dragged into this matter. They continued to suspect Cassie. Cassie explained that she had saved the girls' lives because she saw the future. At this moment, an announcement came over the radio. The police were searching for the black spider murderer. At the same time, Cassie also became a suspect in a kidnapping of 3 female students. A female student was about to call her family when Cassie snatched her phone and threw it out. She then took the group of 3 girls to the woods. When they got there, the crowd immediately started cursing. They blamed Cassie for getting them into such a miserable situation. Cassie explained that she could see the future. The 3 girls were in disbelief, and even joked about they throwing a rock at Cassie, but she couldn't avoid. Cassie patiently explained that her clairvoyance ability didn't work that way, and that she wasn't fully in control of her ability yet. After a while of arguing, Cassie remembered that they had met by chance. The unruly girl with the middle finger was Maddie. The sweet girl Cassie met in the hospital was Julia, and finally Anya, who also lived in the same apartment building as her. Somehow, these 4 seemingly strangers had a fateful bond with each other. Cassie asked the 3 girls to stay there and wait for her while she drove home. Before going home, she removed the license plate to avoid the police from sniffing around. Then, she hurriedly took out her mother's entire diary to read. Only then did Cassie realize that Spider Tribe had superpowers like the black spider. She thought she had this ability too. Cassie climbing the wall a few times, but she still couldn't climb it. Cassie then saw a photo of her mother with the evil Ezekiel, with the address of the Amazon forest written on the back. Meanwhile, in the suburban forest, the group of 3 girls were hungry and ignored Cassie's instructions. The 3 of them quickly found a restaurant on the edge of the forest, and happily went inside to eat. T-girls see handsome guys, and wanted to go over to get to know they. A nearby man discovered that they were the kidnapped girls, so he called the police. Unfortunately, the call was hijacked by the black Ezekiel's hacker. Ezekiel immediately got in his supercar and sped off to hunt his prey. Soon after, Cassie returned to the forest but didn't see anyone. Instead, she saw another future vision. The group of 3 girls were dancing with a group of handsome guys. At this moment, the evil Ezekiel appeared. He quickly strangled a female student. Cassie was also knocked aside, and he took advantage of the momentum to aim at another female student. Seeing this guy kill without blinking an eye, Cassie was furious and rushed out to rescue the girls. In the end, she was no match for Ezekiel, and was even stabbed in the stomach by him. She woke up from her dream. And that was also the end of her future vision. Can't let the girls be in danger, Cassie rushed over to rescue the 3 female students. The group of 3 girls did exactly as Cassie had seen. They stood on the table and danced. The 3 girls were happily dancing when evil Ezekiel appeared at the door, and while they were wondering what to do, a car came from nowhere and hit him and sent him flying. Cassie called the female students to quickly get in the car and escape, but she was also poisoned by his spider poison. Too angry at this playful act, Cassie cursed at the 3 female students to vent her anger. Cassie said that she had risked her life to save the girls over and over again, while they were having fun. Knowing that they were wrong, the 3 of them could only bow their heads and apologize. That night, based on the poison he had injected into her body, Cassie realized that this poison was immune to her. At this time, Ezekiel also used his psychic ability to communicate with Cassie. He said that if she continued to meddle in his business, don't blame him for being evil. The next morning, Cassie brought the 3 girls to stay at Ben's house. He reluctantly let the girls stay. Cassie hurriedly set off to the Amazon jungle to find out the whole truth about her ability and Ezekiel. Following the information on her mother's diary and map, Cassie quickly found the place where her mother caught the spider god. She was startled by Ashana, the one who saved her mother 35 years ago. Ashana took her to a cave where she was born and where her mother passed away. Cassie still couldn't understand why her mother had to risk her life and the life of her unborn child to come to this poisonous forest just to find a spider. He didn't explain much, just pushed the girl's soul out of her body. Cassie was thrown into the lake. She returned to the past, the time her mother came to this forest. Sure enough, her mother's colleague was the black spider. It's true that the landscape can change, but nature is hard to change. This evil person has been sinister since ancient times. He was the one who killed her mother. And she saw the mysterious man who saved her mother, Ashana. The last scene is her mother going to see the doctor. Through that, Cassie learned that even though her mother was pregnant, she still had to gamble with her life to find the magical spider that cures all diseases, to cure the neurological disease that was passed from mother to child, something that modern medicine could not do anything about. It was at this moment that Cassie understood her mother's feelings and removed the wall of memories to be able to hug her mother for the first time in her life. Then she returned to reality, she hoping that Ashana will guide her on how to unleash her inner power. At that time, she could even split herself into many different places at the same time, and most of all, she was the only one who could change the future. During this time, the evil Ezekiel continued to track the group of 3 girls. He ordered the female hacker to find the target at all costs. Meanwhile, at Ben's house, the pregnant sister-in-law of Spider-Man Peter Parker suddenly went into labor and was about to give birth. Ben and the group of 3 girls rushed to take her to the hospital. After walking a short distance, the security camera recorded Maddie's image. After that, the female hacker immediately reported their location to Ezekiel. He happily went to the girls. At that moment, Cassie also returned from Amazon. She knocked on the door, but no one was home. She tried to use her mind power to open the future vision, seeing that the group would meet with disaster with the evil Ezekiel. Therefore, Cassie was forced to take urgent action. Seeing an ambulance nearby, she sneaked into the car and sped away. On the other side, Ezekiel was also following Ben's car to an intersection. He ordered the female hacker to turn on the green lights in all 4 directions to create a traffic jam and control the group. And if it was an accident, all the better. When Ezekiel approached the car, he pulled the grenade pin to end everything. But from the sky, an ambulance flew straight at him, knocking him away and the grenade. As soon as the ambulance backed up, the grenade exploded. After that, Cassie asked Ben to take her sister-in-law to give birth, while she took the 3 girls to escape. However, Ezekiel was still following. When she noticed Ezekiel approaching, Cassie told the 3 girls to immediately charge the emergency defibrillator. As soon as Ezekiel landed on the ceiling of the car, a girl pressed an electric shock to the ceiling, causing Ezekiel to be shocked, thrown up, and fall onto the road. Thinking that she could escape, the car suddenly ran out of power and turned off. She used her mind power to see a brilliant plan. They would set a trap for Ezekiel in the future, where they would blow up the explosives warehouse to deal with him. Although they knew the future, but every move they made, even if it was just a little wrong, could lead to a tragic end. Determined, Cassie called a rescue helicopter and explained the impossible plan. Then, she quickly moved with the 3 girls to the explosives warehouse. At the dock, Cassie took out a series of flares, gave them to the 3 girls, and asked them to throw them into the explosive barrels. Without wasting any time, they immediately split up to act. At that moment, Ezekiel also caught up, and before he could do anything, the entire warehouse began to explode. This situation was indeed difficult for this Ezekiel, because Cassie was someone who could predict his every move. Cassie's group quickly climbed onto the roof, and the rescue helicopter had also arrived to pick them up. It seemed that the group would be free from danger. At that time, the destructive power of the explosion had blown huge holes in the roof, causing the group to struggle. Cassie relied on her intuition, and successfully led the 3 girls out of one danger after another. However, there was still another challenge for them. Ezekiel flew up from a hole in the floor. He took a female student hostage. A spark shot towards Ezekiel, but he knocked it away, the spark to hit the helicopter, which shattered into pieces. At this time, Ezekiel also suddenly jumped up to confront Cassie directly. Just as he was about to finish Cassie off, the 3 female students rushed forward to help. However, they were just ordinary people at the moment, so they were easily set flying in different directions by him. At this moment, she remembered the words of Ashana, and used all her mental strength to simultaneously create 3 clones, helping the 3 girls, who were in danger. Ezekiel felt strange. How could there be such an ability? Spiders clearly only increased physical strength. Ezekiel was very surprised at this moment. He was extremely confused about the spider god. Although surprised by Cassie's ability, the Spider-Man still rushed forward to give her a punch. In a moment of seeing into the future, a glimmer of hope was rekindled. She tried to climb up near a billboard and lure him closer. When he rushed to attack her, an iron bar fell out, clamping his body. At the same time, a spark shot up, causing the billboard to fall. The bridge where he was standing broke, dragging the villain to the ground. Before he could calm down, a giant billboard fell on him, bringing a worthy end to that cruel villain. However, Cassie also had to accept a tragic ending. Although she was saved by 3 girls, her eyesight was permanently lost by the attack of a spark from the explosion. Her life from then on was tied to a wheelchair and a pair of dark glasses. But now, she has 3 powerful assistants by her side, and they are also the trio of Spider-Man heroines. In the future, at the end of the movie, Peter's mother gave birth to our famous Spider-Man boy. The movie ends here. I wonder if Peter's Spider-Man will reunite with a trio of female Spider-Man heroes. But there will definitely be a spectacular sequel. Thank you very much for your support so that the channel can develop like today. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and a comment about this movie. Especially, please subscribe to the channel to follow my movie recap. See you again, my dear friends.